This is Gen X College Dropout Live for November 18th, 2014. Okay, the first thing I'm going to bring up is, I think sometime after midnight, I found that I was able to do 3 surveys on ClickSense. I think it's the first time that's happened to me in, I don't know, months. Yeah, let's just say months, because when I first joined ClickSense, it was easy to get surveys. You know, it's easy to qualify for surveys, actually. Now it's hard as hell. I mean, 3 surveys in one day, it's practically a miracle. But of course, back when I first joined ClickSense, I probably got more than 3 surveys done in a day, something like that. At least that's how I remember it. Anyway, after that and certain other internet activities, I went to sleep. Then I got up around somewhere probably between 10 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. And as usual, I had some cereal. And when I went on the internet, I saw a lot of videos about Gamergate and opposition to social justice wankers. Yeah, I'm going to call them that from now on. Just like, what's that guy, that other YouTuber? I can't believe I forgot his name. I'll figure it out later. Okay, then I did some LPD work. And after that, had dinner, which consisted of, I believe, turkey slices and some kind of vegetable stew, which kicked ass. And after dinner, I did more LPD stuff again. And after the LPD stuff, I watched The Flash, CWTV. This episode, The Flash ran into this metahuman who could turn himself into metal, which sounds similar to that bad guy from a relatively recent episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But, I don't know, if that's considered a ripoff, whatever. And then after The Flash, I saw Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah. And in this episode, Ward finally, Grant, what's that guy's name? I think his first name was Grant. Grant Ward ran into his brother, who's a senator, and was working against another revenge on him. That's the best I could say about that. And after that, I saw Forever, which was about the murder of some jazz musician. And I'm also reminded of how Forever is a disappointing show for me, because the premise behind the show is that the main character is over 200 years old, even though he looks like, I don't know, mid to late 30s, and he's been like that for the past 200 years. And what happened was, back then, he got dumped overboard for refusing to because he wanted to provide medical attention for a slave, but these racist assholes on the ship said, we don't give a shit, so they just dumped him overboard. And some mysterious force gave him gave him immortality. And whenever he gets killed, he eventually comes back to life, and it's always in water, as he's always saying. Now, the problem with Forever is that it's just a cop show. It's mostly a cop show. But it shouldn't be a cop show. It should be about this immortal guy trying to figure out how he became immortal. And yeah, after 200 years, that guy still hasn't figured out what caused his immortality. He might not ever figure it out. Whatever. But I think it's a chance he'll figure it out, because apparently there's this other immortal who phones him every so often. And that guy might have some answers, or if not, then maybe the main guy, if I remember correctly, his name is Henry, and that other immortal can get together and figure out how they became immortal. Yep. And that's pretty much the events for today. But I do want to bring up some additional information, and that information is that I think that the last remaining chemo side effect is weakening slightly, because I noticed that my handwriting has improved, because in the past this side effect had made it kind of difficult for me to write. But not that it didn't create that much difficult for me to draw, but writing was hard, and my handwriting got real sloppy and stuff. Then when I wrote the notes for this Gen X College Dropout Life edition, I noticed that my handwriting improved, so maybe that effect is kind of wear off eventually. I needed to wear off because I can't stand this. And I want to bring up one more thing about another thing about SureStorm, and this is something that a lot of people have said, and I'll say it too. No one has the right not to be offended. The reason for this is because if people did have the right not to be offended, no one would be allowed to speak. We would all be silent, all 7 billion of us. So, in my mind, it's worth being offended if I can still maintain freedom of speech. I mean, I'm one of those super sensitive people who hates being offended all the time. But at the same time, I recognize the reality that unless you want to live in a cave or have no human contact, you're always going to be exposed to offensive things. Or, more to the point, you might choose to be offended at certain things. Yep, that looks like that sounds like what I should. That sounds about right. Yeah, I guess that's it. And since that's it, see you later, Ralph Nader.